Hola, amigos. Welcome to the Kid Gossip. Let's see who force pushed a disaster into the tech world this week. I pushed only small bugs, not a disaster. North Korean steals malware in fake interviews. Imagine this. You join a fake job interview, download a take-home project, and boom! North Korean aligned hackers hid malware inside SVG flag images. Not a single antivirus vendor even caught it. Developers are losing their minds. I inspected my take-home interview project. It was a whole operation. Big paranoia unlocked.
Threat actors are scouting developers in public channels, like community Slacks, and sending them fake coding tests. The project repositories look completely legitimate. At the time of discovery, they had 0 detections on VirusTotal. How it works. Hidden payload. Malicious base64 chunks are secretly hidden inside HTML comments of ordinary SVG files, country flags in the assets folder. Execution. A script pieces these comments together, decodes them, and executes the payload via eval the moment you run a simple npm start or npm run dev. The impact. Data theft. Exfiltrates browser credentials, system keychains, and 25 plus crypto wallets, MetaMask, Phantom, Rabby, etc. File harvesting. Sweeps your local drives for sensitive configs and keys, .env, .pem, .ssh, history logs. Backdoor, RAT. Connects to a C2 via socket IO for real-time interactive shell access. Spying. Pulls your clipboard every 500 milliseconds and drops secondary Windows executables disguised as .txt files. Never blindly run interview/test codebases from random HRDMs on your main machine. Always use a VM or sandbox, even if standard AV scans say it's clean.
It's a shame we can no longer run random code from people anymore. What has this world come to?
I know, right? Anyway, this installation guide says you should dump into bash whatever comes from this curl here.
I'm using the internet since '99. I can't remember a time we could safely run random code on the internet. On the contrary, I remember if you visited a wrong website, you could get Trojans and other viruses just by opening the website.
In software development, we use so many open source packages that people are starting to do supply chain attacks on those open source packages.
Don't allow eval.
Do not run sketchy SVG flag locally. Use virtual machine unless you like stat-sponsored guest on your PC. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel because it's really motivating me to do more new helpful videos. AI coding prevention and the death of expertise. A fresh reality check. AI coding will prevent true expertise. The web is crying about the need for ongoing friction in long-term skin formation because LLMs do all the heavy lifting. The community is having an existential crisis. How you not bored out of your mind? AI makes writing code too easy, but your brain turns to mush.
AI coding tools require expert-level judgment to verify their output. However, by skipping the actual struggle of writing code, beginners fail to build foundational expertise. Relying too heavily on AI creates an illusion of competence and ultimately degrades problem-solving skills. Shift away from using AI as a pure code generator. Instead, treat it as a Socratic tutor or interactive documentation. The cognitive effort must remain on the developer. Use AI to offload tedious tasks, not to replace critical judgment. Friction is a feature. Getting painfully stuck is exactly how developers build real intuition and expertise. AI is a leaky abstraction. AI hides the mechanics, but you still need to understand how things work under the hood to fix issues when the AI inevitably fails. Avoid cognitive debt. Delegate mechanical work to AI, but never outsource your foundational reasoning and decision-making. The realignment I hope to see over the years is the understanding that skills don't develop without active participation. You must engage directly and continuously to experience the essential friction that culminates in expertise, even if it means moving more slowly. Full link to the article, larsfay.com/articles/AI-coding-will-prevent-expertise.
We spent 20 years telling juniors not to paste Stack Overflow code they don't understand. Then we built a machine that does exactly that at scale and made it mandatory.
But at least now, we're having people that aren't even juniors doing it. Progress.
There was a post a few days ago on that moron sub vibecoding. I genuinely thought it was satire at first, but once I realized this absolute melt was 100% serious, I couldn't breathe for laughing. The premise of the post was basically, WTF, I used Claude to build an app for iPhone, but now that I'm trying to shove this aborted fetus into the App Store, I'm getting asked technical things. What is a provisioning profile? Why do I need a certificate to publish my app? This is way too complicated. I just wanted to rip people off with my garbage. Oh no, you might actually have to learn something? How unfair.
A buddy of mine built a to-do list with Claude, which produced a single HTML file inside the chat interface. He then had an idea for a SaaS that he now wants to build himself. He asked me if a login screen can be built with HTML. Yeah, the situation is bad. People who have absolutely no idea about even the basics of web development are now thinking because they produced working to-do lists with local storage and JSON backups, they can now produce services.
I can certainly underline the conclusion. AI should not be used for blind code generation, but above all as a learning tool where you retain control and can understand every line of code yourself if needed. However, I must clearly say, wasting a whole day searching for a bug instead of having the AI show and explain it immediately is a waste of time in my eyes. Sure, it is a nice experience once in a while, but I do not want to miss LLMs as a programmer anymore to quickly complete these annoying tasks and concentrate more on the development itself.
Thing like this is why I've risked my job by not vibe coding anything. I use Copilot occasionally so I get answers faster, but in the long run, I think relying too much on this tech will make us obsolete way before the AI can actually do our jobs. If I'm wrong, oh well, at least I learned something.
So, stop blindly smashing tab on LLM outputs. Sometimes you actually need to suffer through raw syntax to learn something. The mystery of URL double slashes and trailing slashes? Web devs are losing their minds over anxiety history. Why do URLs use double slash after HTTP and HTTPS, and why so many websites aggressively force a trailing slash at the end? The community splits in half. Some are digging into Tim Berners-Lee's anxiety architecture specs, while others are being everyone to finally touch grass and fix their roads.
Is there a historical reason, or was it simply part of the original URL specification?
Yes, there is. Sir Tim Berners-Lee. TLDR, it was mostly an arbitrary syntax, which he regrets now. zdnet.com/article/double/ in web addresses, a bit of a mistake. To add some context, which TIL, the original idea was to extend the concept of the Unix path, /path/2/file, to a network path, //host/path/2/file. Then you can stick a protocol in front, http://host/path/2/file, if you want to specify a protocol. Makes 100% sense.
Even if he regrets it, I think it was the correct design given what is exploded out of using and extending that syntax. If it was bad and worth regretting, it would have died out in history.
I feel like this doesn't answer part of the implicit question. They are probably thinking of how simpler URIs like mail to and tell don't have the // the way actual URLs do. In that context, the reason is that FTP // and HTTP // contain an authoritative section the other URIs do not. A full uniform resource locator has to locate the authority, like protocol, // path, http // greaseland.com /Elvis. But the simpler URIs are like protocol, path, mail to, Elvis@greaseland.com. So the answer in this context is that forward slash doesn't actually go with colon, like http forward slash. It is forward slash domain.com.
Imagine if emails were mail:presley.com/Elvis.
I'm more disturbed by the need for www, while some don't.
I'd argue that www is an even bigger waste of space, effort, paper, and time than the double slash, while also serving almost no purpose in this day and age.
RFC 1738.
Ignore the trailing slashes for the day. Let engines handle its own drama and go get some sleep. And that's all drama for now. Time to close this podcast, but we'll merge the fresh gossip into the next video. Stay tuned, amigos.